Assalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Hope you're doing fantastic. So we're continuing our reading of Friedrich Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra. What's interesting about this book is that you just get to experience what it's like from, Nietzsche's perspective and creativity. And by reading it, hopefully you will get a better command of the English language and have creative writing. And also, you'll be able to see the metaphors, the symbolic elements that he has injected into his writing. And it's always fun to argue with a German, right? It's always fun. So don't take him too serious because, in my opinion, I think Nietzsche wants to get under your skin. And if you let him, you've kind of lost the fun of it all. So let's continue. This section was titled On the Despisers of the Body. We'll see what it's all about. I want to speak to the despisers of the body. I would not have them learn and teach differently, but merely say farewell to their own bodies, and thus become silent. Body am I and soul, thus speaks the child. And why should one not speak like children? Well, because that's... Okay. So, the child obviously has this innocence is what he's getting at. You hear this a lot with Christians. We're the children of God. And it's like, I'm not a child. Because if I call you a boy, little girl, it shows a bit of naivete, immaturity, and dove-like behavior. Right? If you're an adult, and you haven't matured, calling yourself a child is perverted and weird. I find that strange. Like there's women who, when they're in intimacy with their partner, they call him daddy, and then he calls her baby. Very incest, rapey type of sexual language that I think is disgusting. And so when you hear, speak like children, no, children say some absurd things. They have curiosity, they have this wonder about the world, but at a certain point, you're the adult and you're the leader, and you need to speak and act like an adult. So I don't agree with speaking like children as some sort of noble thing. If you ever met a 25-year-old chick who has the grammar of an 11-year-old, you're just like, what is going on here? Underdevelopment. It's not good. But the awakened and knowing say, body am I entirely, and nothing else. And soul is only a word for something about the body. Oh, see, this is where we're going to disagree. Okay. He says the awakened one is solely of the flesh. This, to me, is the opposite. Because, for example, the more I study Islam, the more I actually let go of vanity in my body. When we Muslim women cover, it's cutting off the vanity, cutting off the lust, it's cutting off the social conditioning that has been engineered into us to be nothing but the flesh, to only be approved of because of the flesh, and when you turn back to modesty, this to me is a great state of knowing that your body is gonna be eaten by bugs. The soil will consume your blood. It will absorb you. Worms and maggots will crawl in you. And your soul is no longer there. This is why when you see a corpse for the first time, you see the consciousness is gone. The body is there. The soul is gone. It's totally different. And some people, they have a very powerful stare. And you can feel that this person has it's just something is there. And then you see some beautiful people who it's you're just hello. And they're just this is what is, this person is out of this world. Right? And Satanists are very into the flesh. They worship the self. Okay? And so if you're only going to say that the way you come to be awakened is through the body, you're trapped. Your body, to me, is something that traps you. It keeps you inside. Just look at women who get endless plastic surgery. They are doing OnlyFans. They're Instagram models. They're constantly body checking themselves. You know, oh, I got my body. Oh, I got. Is my hair right? Is this right? Am I in the right costume? And if you just look at the piece of different hijabis and niqabis, as we're walking, just gliding through the hedonism, just really peaceful and sublime inside of ourselves. Oh, Allah has given us such liberation from the male gaze and the constant validation cycle, which is only going to go downhill after 30, right? No matter how many porn fetishes of grandma gangbang and all these perversions, the healthy-minded male who has not been programmed by satanic pornography and Luciferianism and occultism will know that a healthy, beautiful woman from 18 to 22 is prime, and everything after that window, it's a different acquirement. So if we think that the flesh is somehow the only ticket to raise your consciousness, I would totally disagree. Now, it affects us, our gut biome. You know, if you're a cripple, if you have some ribs missing, you know, half of your nose is gone because of war, certain things about you can be removed or added, and then you have this sort of manipulated consciousness. But I would argue that no. To say I am body entirely and nothing else, it's just not true. It's just not at all something relevant to getting yourself to a higher state of being. But he's consistent within his philosophy. He's consistent in his worldview perspective that he's put into the mind of, or rather voice, character, Zarathustra. The body is a great reason, a plurality, with one sense. Does the body just have one sense? I don't know about that. The touch externally, the nervous system internally. I don't know. And then the psychological aspect. I don't know about that. A war and a peace, a herd and a shepherd. An instrument of your body is also your little reason, my brother, which you call spirit. A little instrument and a toy of your great reason. I don't think you should ever call your body a toy, because that is a disrespectful way of looking at your body. If a woman is the toy of a man, she has objectified herself, because kids don't take care of their toys. Very few do. I mean, they color on them, put stickers on them, they beat them on the ground, they throw them at people, they chew on them. You don't really take care of toys as a kid. If you're not taking care of your body, you are not doing your due diligence, and you are not a sex toy of your partner. You're his mate. And a man is not a toy for a woman either. It's a very unhealthy way to look at each other as a toy, because toys get discarded, they get broken, and nobody wants to play with a broken toy. Usually they want to toss them out. So if someone's looking at you, it's a spider. Die. If someone's looking at you like a toy, I'd be like, nah, you're a psychologically abusive individual. Huh. I, you say, and are proud of the word, but greater in that in which you do not wish to have faith. Your body and its great reason, that does not say I, but does I. So that does not say I, but does I. So there's a lot of ego going on here. It's a lot of I, the flesh, and the soul is only a word for something with the body, and your body is a toy. I mean, it's pretty dark. You know, it's pretty dark to me. Now, contrast the people who say, like, the body is a temple. The body is something to be respected and honored, to be dignified, not degraded. There's a difference between the temple and a toy, and the way in which you utilize it. What sense feels what the spirit knows, never has an end in itself, but sense and spirit would persuade you that they are the end of all things. That is how vain they are. Okay, let's check this out. What the sense feels, the spirit knows. Well, that's a very spiritual phrase, I would say. Because your senses, like, I got a gut feeling about this, you know, and it's like your spirit, your soul knows that it's wrong. So, of course, it never has an end in itself. I would argue that it's a guidepost that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has given you so you can help navigate the world. And it was part of your fitrah, right? Your consciousness that's pure before it becomes diluted and divided and subverted through the occultic aims. You should listen to that. However, our intuitions can be wrong. But if you're raised right and you prune your consciousness of filth, I would say that the end is to guide you toward what is good, true, and beautiful, wholesome, pleasing to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So the end is to guide you towards something better and to divert you away from sin. That's what I would say. And it's not going to have an end because there's a continuing flow of information towards you every day. Your senses are always going to work until the day your consciousness leaves this realm. What do you think, fam? Do you agree with some Nietzsche? What are you thinking? What are you thinking? Let me know.